In today's video, we will cover an absolutely profound teaching by Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. It is an excerpt from the book I Am That. I think is going to help you so much in your practice of self-inquiry. What we're going to do is I'm going to break down the quote first, and then we're going to do an experiential step-by-step guided meditation that's going to walk you into the experience of what is being spoken about. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope you gain a ton of value from it. Enjoy. The quote talks about our pursuit of the self and how the self cannot be found in anything. And it cannot be found in anything inside of experience. And it cannot be found in the usual way that we are used to looking for things. Okay. This is a very different pursuit in which our entire conditioning of how we go about all of our other endeavors, that's actually like, it has to be backwards. It has to be totally different. So let me read it out. It says, all attributes are personal. The real is beyond all attributes. If I ask you right now, what is the taste of your mouth? All you can do is to say, it is neither sweet nor bitter, nor sour, nor astringent. It is what remains when all these tastes are not. Similarly, when all distinctions and reactions are no more, what remains is reality, simple and solid. When all names and forms have been given up, the real is with you. You need not seek it. Plurality and diversity are the play of the mind only. Reality is one. So the example here that I want you to pay close attention to is where he goes, if I ask you the taste of your mouth right now, considering you haven't just ate or drank something right before this, all you can really say is that, there's nothing in particular, or, the smell of air. You can't, if there's no smell present, you can just say it's not this, it's not that. It's just what remains when none of that is, when none of that is there. Similar to it, right? The taste in your mouth, it's not sweet right now, it's not sour, it's not this, it's not that. It's just its natural condition, just what remains when all of those things are not present. So this is where really it's a good analogy for the meditation practice, is because as we're searching for the self, through habit, we are looking for it in things. We are looking for it in thoughts. We're looking for it in feeling. We're looking for it in sensation. We're looking for it in the world. But this entire experience is all attributes. That is what it means, right? Like all attributes are personal, meaning all differences, diversity, this and not that, anything that is definable. All objects are definable clearly. They have qualities, they have characteristics. They are this and not that. For example, this is a cup and it cannot be a phone. Like all things in experience have a definable quality which sets them separate apart from other things. The moment there's a definition, there's a limitation. It can be this and it cannot be that. Everything that we are aware of, they're just attributes. They're just different qualities, different defined objects, apparently separate objects. Even the experience of the person is all just experience of changeful attributes. There's no stability in the body, right? It's a constant changeful experience. There's no stability in the mind, constantly changeful experience. Even something as intimate to you as your self-image, your idea of who I am as a person, there's no stability there even. It's a constantly changeful image, experience. So the funny thing is that like the attention can only flow towards attributes. That's its only function, to light up attributes. In the beginning, it's totally scattered into a million different attributes, right? Constantly occupied with something. So in the beginning, we say, okay, let's concentrate it on one attribute, on just one thing. So rather than scattered into a billion things, we first concentrated on one thing. And that's usually, right, the breath or the sensation. And then, if we do this enough, like if we're just so concentrated on just one thing, on one object, you'll notice that eventually even that object will dissolve into just awareness, awareness of awareness. So this is where the practice evolves into what we call self-inquiry. It is rather than looking at any attribute, anything, you acknowledge the looking itself. For the first time in your life, rather than just looking at the object that the light is shining on, you become aware of the light itself. And the light is not really a thing. It's not like, this light, which you can see. It's almost like the eyesight, which is seeing, but you can't see the eyesight. So this is where the manner of looking has to change. Anything that you see, you will not find the self there. As we discussed very deeply in weeks 2 and 3 inside of the course, that all experience that is coming and going, you will not find the self in there. There's no self in any sensation, in any thought, in any experience. Because the self is that which is aware of its transiency. The self is that which sees all come and go. You see all of it come and go. So there's a different sort of contemplation. In a way, you are being that which you are seeking. And you are learning to look away from all attributes. You're learning to dissolve your interest in what you see. And you're becoming interested in the fact of your seeing. You're becoming interested in the seer. This is self-inquiry meditation. So when you close your eyes today and you begin the meditation session, I surely want you to start off with bringing your attention towards maybe the sensation of your hands or your breath, and at least center it there, ground it there for the beginning portion. You're not being asked to think about the sensation of the hands or think about the breath. It is a simple movement of attention, which is prior to the thought. The moment you catch yourself thinking, you just bring your looking, your attention, your inner looking, back to the sensation of hands or your breath. Very, very simple. Now see that even the sensation is something that you see, right? There's an awareness of it. The thoughts that arise, there's an automatic, effortless awareness of them. You're not doing anything to be aware of thought. Thoughts come and go. It's everybody's experience. Thoughts come and go. At the level of awareness, you're not making any effort. The moment a thought arises, there's a spontaneous awareness of it with which it is known. So even thoughts are something you are aware of without you doing anything to make that happen. The sound of my voice is something there's an awareness of. The feelings and sensations of your body is something there's an awareness of. There's a looking of. You are seeing it. You are aware of it. All these things being there automatically, they're only there because there's an awareness of it, because you are aware of it. So see if you could take this next step with me. If you find it difficult, don't get frustrated. It's okay. Just do your best. There's nothing to perfect right now. Okay. Be very lighthearted about this. At the very least, keep turning away from the mental chatter. Have no desire to think about what is being said right now. So all these sounds, including the sound of my voice, the sensations of your body, the thoughts arising in the mind, even something as intimate as the sensations of your face and mouth and eyes and head. All these things, there's an awareness of. All these things are attributes that there is an awareness of. Instead of being so focused on them or fixated on them, see if you could acknowledge the awareness of them. In a way, you are turning away from the object to that which is seeing the object. When you try to do this, it's very normal that your attention maybe doesn't know what to do with itself, or it just keeps on going to some sensation, some thought, some feeling, some sound. That's okay. Just once again, acknowledge that whatever it lands on, whatever is known, there's an awareness of it without you doing anything. Once again, instead of being so fixated in the object that you see, Acknowledge the awareness of it. You will not find the self in any sound. You'll not find it in thought. You will not find it in any sensation. The self is what remains when you turn away from all of these things. The self is the seer. Turn away from what is seen, and you will find that the self is not to be sought out. It is that which is looking. It is what you are. It is simply what remains. You are always the self that is aware. But the seeming path back to yourself is, rather than being so fixated in the objects that you see, you must here and now, not later, not yesterday, not tomorrow, here and now, rather than being fixated and focused in the objects that you see, so interested and mesmerized by the objects that you see, acknowledge the seeing of them. The awareness of them. Become aware of your own awareness. If you find yourself thinking, no need to struggle. Just acknowledge that the very arising of thoughts is already known. You see them arise. There's an awareness of thoughts. Instead of pursuing what the thoughts are saying, simply acknowledge the seeing of them. The moment you do so, thoughts will drop. The moment you do so, you're no longer focused in an object. You are being the subject. You are being the attributeless self that you are. You keep trying to be aware of your own awareness and maybe land on some object, some sensation, some sound. It does not matter. Acknowledge that all of those are only known because there's an awareness of them already, spontaneously, effortlessly. All these objects that are arising, they're not an obstacle to your awareness. They're very being there is it relies on your awareness of them, which is always prior to them. But that must be acknowledged rather than you just remain like getting lost in what you see. You have to remain aware of the seeing in which everything is appearing. Everything you see is an attribute, but the seeing itself is not an attribute. The self that sees is not an attribute. That which I am aware as right now does not have an attribute. It does not have a name, a form, a body, a shape. Awareness is the attributeless realm. The moment you turn away from what you see and you acknowledge the seeing of it, in that moment, your entire conditioning is at a halt. All your ideas are at a halt. In that moment, you are no longer a person. In that moment, you are the attributeless, nameless, formless self that knows. That is the reality of all things. You may not know this yet, but you come to know it by again and again being that, again and again becoming aware of that, becoming aware of your own seeing, your own awareness, which is entirely conceptless, attributeless, motiveless, intentionless, desireless, fearless, resistanceless, distinctionless, definitionless. In this silence, all of your identifications will dissolve. All of your restlessness and suffering will dissolve. All your confusion will dissolve. The path to the self is not a long one because the self is right here, closer than everything you are aware of, including your own body, including your own mind. It is you that sees, I that see. But right now, the mistake we make and the reason we are caught in the illusion is because we are totally fixated in, lost in, immersed in what we see. And we have never taken a moment to acknowledge the light in which everything appears. If this teaching resonates with you, be daring enough, courageous enough to allow it to be this simple. Rather than what you see, acknowledge the seeing, which is not even a step away from you. Which is not being maintained by effort. Of course, due to habit of remaining immersed in experience, this will be difficult, which is why you have to value this above everything else. You have to give this the importance it demands. And despite its being difficult, you do your best anyway, and the rest will take care of itself. For this teaching did not just come into your life by coincidence. There's a relevance to it, but it must be nurtured, cared for, followed, lived, valued. If you nurture the seed, it will grow. There's no doubt about that. So as you get ready to get out of today's meditation, one of the main things I would like to emphasize again, and something that I want you to contemplate again and again and visit and feel out, experiment with, play around with, pay attention to, is that everything you are aware of, from the sound of my voice to the sensations of your body, to the thoughts interpreting what I'm saying, everything you are aware of is a changeful experience that comes and goes. Everything you are aware of is just attributes, defined things. But the seeing of them, you, the seer of them, turn towards yourself because you are not an attribute. Acknowledge the seeing in which everything appears, without which nothing can be. Because what would be there to say it is there? It is only because of the seeing, of the awareness, the knowing, that we can say this is here and now it's not. This was here, this is here. We speak about things, but we don't acknowledge the light in which they appear. If you remain immersed in things, we remain under the spell of the illusion, We remain under the spell of personhood, of being an individual inside of a world, living this personal life, which is also important. The only way to discover our true nature, our true being, which is beyond any attribute, is to learn to, in this moment, look away from all attributes. Direct all of your desire to find the self into this simple act of turning away from what you see and acknowledging the awareness of it. Acknowledge the seeing, the knowing, in which all is coming and going. That is an act of devotion. That is you, quote unquote, visiting the self, being the self, being the attributeless self. And that silence will burn through all of your concepts, all of your confusion, all of your misery, all of your dysfunction. Because all of that stuff can only persist as long as we remain fixated in what we see and have no idea, no understanding of that which sees. As simple as this is, it is equally profound. So that is today's invitation. Okay. Okay. You can feel free to open your eyes and we can sort of just relax. As I said, it does not matter if you could not fully grasp everything that was being said today, or if the mind is struggling with something that was being said today. Like it just does not matter how much the mind is struggling, as long as you continue to acknowledge that it is seen. The moment we start to care more about this fact of how it is seen, rather than being so fixated with its concerns, it's just all so simple. It just drops away. Its seeming importance drops away, and the thoughts themselves drop away, because you are now like the seeing, the attention, the seeing with which it was being fueled. It's no longer being fueled with that. It's because that's coming to the acknowledgement of that self-awareness in which no thought can persist. This is like a very simple way out of confusion. This is a very simple way out of overthinking or anxiety or fear or any thought-made illusion, perception. And as simple as this is the invitation, yield to the simplicity. It requires courage. It requires faith in the teaching, but your faith will not go wasted. It is very different because we are so invested in what we see as real and as true. We give reality to things, to attributes. But as the quote said that I shared with you, right? Let me just read it out again. All attributes are merely personal. The real is beyond all attributes. The real is the attributeless reality which is here, which does not change as that which you are aware. You are aware as the attributeless self, because it is you that is aware. It is in your seeing which all appears. But you see, the seeing is, the awareness is not something we can grab a hold of as mine. As you continue to acknowledge the seeing, the whole concept of me and mine goes. There's only one seeing here. The people are many, but there's only one seeing here. Awareness is the attributeless realm. There's no individual in awareness. Awareness is the separationless reality, which is here, in which all of this experience is arising, subsiding. So that becomes very, very clear as you continue to just take this simple backward step from what you see to the seeing itself. From what I know to the knowing itself. Make that all important. If today's video brought you value, please help me by sharing a thumbs up underneath the video. As always, if you want to go further, deeper into this teaching, you have many resources in the description box below that I'm going to link. There are certain free resources like my self-inquiry mini course or my acceptance and letting go mini course, which are entirely free and they will get you really started off on the right way, especially on the practice front. And let's say you are having a difficult time with the practice, or you want to work with me personally and you want to be supported by a group and a community that practices and is focused in this teaching. If you are searching for something like that, then learn more about my School of Awakening, which is an absolutely amazing day-by-day meditation program that's going to take these teachings from being just merely on the intellectual or conceptual level for you to making it your experience, your embodied experience and understanding. So all those resources are in the description box below. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.